This episode is brought to you by Benton Integrative Medicine, a concierge, membership-based medical practice offering direct primary care, functional medicine, hormone and sexual health, and wellness and vitality programs.
At Benton Integrative Medicine, they look beyond symptoms to uncover root cause solutions, helping patients restore balance, energy, and well-being through a comprehensive and personalized approach.
Their team believes in medical freedom, informed choice, and patient autonomy, empowering you to take charge of your health with a trusted partner by your side. Learn more at bentonintegrative.com and discover how integrative care can help you thrive, body, mind, and soul. Our listeners know that the three of us are passionate about exposing the broken systems within our society, revealing how the quest for money and power has corrupted so many of them so that they no longer serve us.
That's right. We talk a lot about our broken medical system, and that includes our broken medical insurance system. We believe that it is time we dismantle the broken systems and work together to rebuild new ones that actually serve us.
And that's why we are excited to share an answer we found as an alternative to your traditional insurance plan that charges you exorbitant monthly payments and deductibles, then asks you to pay even more when you get sick, that controls your medical decisions, including what your physician is allowed to do and prescribe, and that rakes in billions as corporations at our expense.
That's why we love Crowd Health. We interviewed CEO Andy Schoonover in episode 106, which we encourage you all to check out to learn more. But Andy founded Crowd Health after experiencing firsthand just how inept and outrageous insurance companies have become.
Crowd Health is not an insurance company, but a platform and a community that empowers you with a crowdfunding tool and a wealth of resources to efficiently manage your healthcare costs. And it's an excellent alternative to health insurance, allowing us to escape the healthcare matrix and put us and our healthcare providers back in charge.
Ever since my family and I made the switch to Crowd Health, not only are we proud to be part of a company with integrity, but we love that we are free from the broken insurance system. We will never be part of that system again. We've had nothing but an A+ experience. From before we even enrolled, we connected with an advocate who answered our questions. Then upon enrollment, we were immediately assigned a personal advocate who is literally a text away anytime I need her. If you follow them on Instagram and Twitter, you will see not only how much they truly care about each of the members, but also how much money they save us. This is why we encourage all of you to go to joincrowdhealth.org to learn more and to use code JUSTTHINK to get your first 3 months of membership for just $99 a month. Again, it's joincrowdhealth.org with discount code JUSTTHINK. You can also reference our Just Think the podcast Substack for more information.
Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to Just Think the podcast. This is Holly.
And Amy.
And Kristen.
And the doctor's in the house. Dr. Ben Schwartz is back with us today because we need him, because we know you all, our listeners, know that we do have opinions about things, and we try to base those. Well, we always want to base our opinions and facts and things that we can prove and show. But what we like is to bring the real expert in, the actual practicing physician who's like on the front lines of this stuff, who can tell us what the science actually reveals. And as you know, Dr. Schwartz with Benton Integrative, their whole practice, including Dr. Cami Benton, is all about root cause medicine. So we're going to get into some things today because there's a lot of health headlines out there and fear is among us. That's always the goal, right? It's like, can we just scare the people into submission or into basically complying with whatever it is that we want the people to do or buy? Hello, big right? Okay. So, Dr. Ben, first of all, thanks for being with us.
Thank you all for having me back. I always enjoy this.
We always have a good time with you. Okay. So, we texted you this week and we're like, hey, can we talk about these headlines? Like, what these things that are going on? We see the fear-mongering. And after 2020, so many of us are awake to the schemes, right? It's like you sit there and you watch it. It's almost like watching a TV program. And well, let's start with probably one of the most recent things, the hantavirus and the cruise ship, right? Where all of a sudden it was giving 2020 vibes, right? Cruise ship out there. Here's people who apparently have played with some mouse poop or something. We don't know. We don't know what was going on there. But the hantavirus, and then there was this one young man that they seemed to choose who wanted to be the spokesperson on the ship. Did you guys see him? Where he was like giving the like play-by-play of the ship, and it looked like he was straight out of
Gosh.
the Truman Show. Did he
Yeah.
not?
Yeah.
When he did that whole Starbucks ad, I about fell out. I was like, because we just watched the Truman Show, like literally just last week, where she's like, "Would you like a cup of this hot cocoa?" You know, and he's like, "What are you talking about?" But I mean, he was literally like, "This Starbucks cortado tastes so delicious." I mean,
Yeah.
what in the world, y'all?
What are you doing? I hate everything. Dr. Ben, give us your take on that hantavirus. What's the real scoop on this?
I think since 2020, we are very wired to fear these dramatic diseases, even when they're not statistically that probable to ourselves. One thing that I always encourage people to do is separate the headlines from the actual epidemiology. A scary headline does not automatically equal a high personal risk for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So let's use the past as data for ourselves and what we've been through already. Don't hit the red panic button just yet. This seems to be an outlier of an event. It does not happen often. It is very rare. And the way that it's transmitted is highly unlikely to happen to many people, if at all.
And
Mhm.
how is it transmitted? Just by the way, it's not an airborne virus like COVID.
No,
Okay.
rodent droppings, rodent urine, particularly if it's in like dusty spaces where the particles can live for a period of time, very enclosed spaces, not stuff that we're all very around often at all. So
Okay.
it's not like it's going to spread like the flu. You're not going to walk down the street or it's going to be spreading in your household. It's incredibly unlikely to transmit that way.
And is it human to human then? Like if somebody came in contact with mouse droppings, like, and what they're just like touching it or breathing it in, and then if they were to get the virus, then can they infect another human from that point?
Apparently incredibly rare again.
Okay.
It's really going to be rodent to person.
Okay.
And I
And
think
well,
what I read or what I heard too was that there's like one strain that can't
Mhm.
go human to human, but the only way it does that is if you are really in like close quarters with these people. So it's not like it just hangs around in the air and stuff like that. Like you have to be like close quarters, like husband and wife or family or in a
Yes.
small cruise ship in a room stuck on a cruise ship with
Yeah.
all these people. I mean, so that's probably maybe how that spread.
And around it for a longer period of time.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So you're in the area for again, not like the way that a flu would spread. It can happen very quickly. You have to be in the same space for a longer period of time, which obviously don't do that. Don't be around that stuff. If we're not exposed to rodent droppings, then you're lowering your risk substantially alone. And again, that risk already is very trivial. And I want to give respect to the people on the cruise. It is scary. It's obviously a very serious issue, but it's incredibly unlikely to become another pandemic. It's not going to happen.
yeah.
And another thing to note that I think they've had like maybe 30 deaths in the past 3 years or so. It was like 10 a year. Now it's like maybe a more deadly, like if you're looking at the percentage risk, but like you said, it is so rare and so hard to spread. And what I understand too, it kind of like goes through everything really quick and then it's done because it doesn't hang around.
Right.
And look, just like what it just did in the media. It was out, tried to scare you. We didn't fall for it. Now they're on to the next one.
Yeah. Now, well, by the way, let me just add, no shade on the cruise industry, but I think I'm done with cruises. I'm just going to throw this in here. I think by the time I've watched a gazillion Instagram reels and TikToks of the Lido deck and people doing the wobble and
Lee, do you know that we're going on a cruise in a couple weeks? Can you?
stop it right now.
Oh, she didn't know.
You didn't know. Kristen and I are going to Alaska in like 3 weeks. But Dr. Ben is going to hook us up with all of the things that we need to stay ready, safe, healthy.
Rat repellent.
Yes. I specifically need all the anti-nausea, motion sickness
Well,
protocol.
Some mouse
Yes.
killer in the closets of your room. Like, yeah, that's what I'm
Right.
saying. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm just, y'all, it's just me. I think I'm like kind of peopled out too, like mass groups of people in a small smaller place. I don't even want to be in New York City right now, right? Like I want to be away from the peoples. I want to go
Right.
where the people are,
Mhm.
right? Like that's where I'm at right now. So like everything about a cruise ship after the hantavirus, I was like, yeah, I'm good. You will
Good.
not get me on one again. It's good. I'm fine though. No,
Yeah.
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone who there's people who love it. I know people who do it like all the time. Good for you. I'm out though. And it's not just the hantavirus. I think it's really just the people.
We go through those off the grid phases that we all see.
Yes.
We're like,
I
look,
am there.
it's me time.
Yes.
Um,
And I do think, and Dr. Ben knows all of our labs, so he knows that like where my hormones are right now, it's probably good for me to be away from the peoples and then
That's what I told you.
Well, I would say that this will probably be our last cruise. I don't see us really jumping on a cruise again, but it is probably the best way for a big crowd to see Alaska.
Yes.
totally, totally. And good time to go to Alaska is summer because
Yeah.
my sister-in-law and brother-in-law used to live there for years. And let me tell you, also a place. I don't like to be cold either. So there you go. But it's gorgeous. Y'all gonna have the best time.
Yes,
Sorry.
we
I
will.
really did not know y'all they were going on it.
That's so fun.
Okay, but now they went from the Hanta, so I was seeing all the Hanta, and then I was seeing all the people shutting it down. Like, really, y'all, don't be gullible. And then I think it kind of moved on, and then there was the whole Ebola thing.
Right.
Why does Ebola always creep back into the headlines? What's going on with that, Dr. Ben?
I really don't know why it continues to happen in that area, but it seems very isolated to that area. I think it's mostly the DRC spilling over into Uganda. I don't really know why, but it stayed rather isolated there. That's again, I if anything I can do for this podcast is just say there doesn't need to be fear. It's not here. The same way it got here last time was travel. I think we need to limit the travel from area to area, make sure that we stay in our isolated box, let it kind of resolve itself like it has in the past. It does keep coming up. I don't know why. There are more confirmed cases in that area day after day. I don't know what it's going to look like, but it doesn't seem like anything that we have to be fearful of right now.
And
That's
and look, we were talking about this before we hopped on. Ebola is one of those. Yes, that is one that you do have to. It is very serious. But again, it ain't here. I trained for this like in the hazmat. We had hazmat training and everything in the ER. That is one that you know that does have a higher death rate for sure. But it is all the way across the ocean, across the country, all of it. This is where I'm like, this is where I approve of closed borders. Okay. Don't come over here. If they come over here, that's someone's fault. Like if you know that they are there, they do not need to be coming here. You know, like you stay there, stay over there.
Yeah.
Love y'all.
With you.
And I pray for y'all and I want everybody to be okay. But I mean,
Don't bring it here.
don't bring it here.
Don't bring it here.
Right. And I think that the healthcare architecture over there might be different, and perhaps they don't have the manpower or the means to get it confined and let the numbers continue to come down.
Yeah.
I really don't know what it looks like. I'm not educated in that healthcare system over there.
Me either.
But I would be shocked to say that it's perfect if this continues to happen. So it might be something that, let's say it found its way to America eventually. I think that we will handle it very differently. Hopefully not in the same way that we have in the past, but we'll be able to get it better under control a whole lot quicker with however we quarantine the people who end up testing positive. But even with hantavirus, sometimes I think there was a case on the cruise where on the cruise they had tested positive for it, or that one person, and now they're testing negative for it. Now it's a question of like, did we get rid of it? Or, it's viral, it should still be there. Or maybe was it a false positive test to begin with? And really it might have been spreading a lot less than we think.
That sounds familiar. Remember?
Yes, it does.
COVID with all the fake PCR testings. I mean, the number of people, especially college kids, I know that tested positive for COVID and 0 symptoms. And now we know, well, those PCR tests were running at a rate that was going to give false positives all over the place. And again, that just contributes to the fear. Does it not? Like, everybody's got it.
And it's a cruise. I'm not going to say people are unhealthy on a cruise, but a lot of symptoms that happen, I know it would happen to me if I was on a cruise, but like you're probably going to get some dizziness. You're going to feel faint. The digestive symptoms might come. We're probably drinking alcohol. The food choices are abundant and not always the best. I mean, it's things that aren't going to like lead you to be healthy right away. And then if you're on that cruise and you get quarantined, like, can you imagine the spike in fear that's going to give you?
Right.
I think a lot of people would be symptomatic for that, and their immune system would tank and suffer.
Yeah.
Like, who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. And that just reminded me of that. Did y'all see the Netflix documentary of the cruise ship that had the
The poop cruise.
yes, the poop
My
cruise?
God.
I didn't see it, but I read.
Horrible, but funny. Horrible, but so funny.
Worst nightmare.
Horrible,
Worst
funny.
nightmare.
And again, I'm out. I'm out. I'm out on cruises. What are you gonna say, Amy?
As a worst nightmare, Holly, if this happens, you will charter some kind of a helicopter and airlift us out,
I
please.
will be rescuing these two, y'all.
I
Just
will climb the rope to the helicopter.
I'll be pulling out all the stops to go get them. I'll have a
It's your family
Alaskan
stuff,
helicopter
like,
dropping down.
Oh my gosh.
Get them off. They'll be like, we're done. No, I'm going to ask you to stay on and document it to film the next documentary for the next poop cruise. Nightmare. Okay. So let's talk because my husband did not even know about this headline, y'all. And again, it's, he was glad he didn't know about it, but I just showed him a man who is having a massive, what looked like hives, irritated skin, eczema looking skin from eating meat that people are now claiming they had a tick bite. They got what's called alpha gal, and now they're allergic to meat. What is going on?
So I think that that's actually a a pretty big problem, and it seems to be growing in intensity. Basically, there's this one tick, the Lone Star tick, that the population is just booming right now, especially in our area too, right? The mid-Atlantic and the Southeast, which stinks. But these ticks, they're loving the warm climate, the ecosystem's changing. There's more of them. And the bite can give you something called alpha-gal syndrome, which is real, and we've known about it for a long time, but the numbers keep coming up. So, not something, again, that I want to fear-monger, but this is something that I would take very seriously. I want people listening and patients of mine to make sure they are taken very seriously, because when you get it, for those who don't know, you will develop an allergy to most red meats and dairies. And that can be a pretty significant portion of people's diets. It changes things a lot. And it's a very nutritious part of a lot of people's diet. Like, there's a lot of good in that. You got your iron, your zincs, your B vitamins, carnitine, creatine. Like, there's a lot of good. So you're taking away a pretty fundamental nutrient, in my opinion. I do lean more paleo in how I think a lot of people should eat. So it's a scary thought. And the best thing that you can do is be preventative and reduce your exposure and make sure that, because we don't know a lot about when you get the tick bite. Like, when you get the tick bite, is it going to be immediate? You get it, and the IgG immune cell is going to invade, and now we can't have red meat and dairy. We don't know how long it takes. So I'm generally recommending either avoid the areas that have them, make sure that you're lathering up with certain essential oils that are very helpful to kind of push ticks away, and do your checks. Like, if you're outside, immediately upon getting back, do your tick checks, especially this time of year, and get it off of your body and out of your body as quick as you can.
Yeah.
I don't think it's nothing that we want to play with, sadly.
Yeah. What oils do you suggest, like essential oils, for those listening? For
Yeah.
I mean, I know some, but I was going to get your expert recommendation on for repelling, right?
Yeah. I think that eucalyptus has the most research, but blends of eucalyptus, thyme, and cedarwood, I think, are the best bet. Peppermint as well, because it's very accessible. A lot of us have that lying around.
Oh, yeah. And it's
So
not,
yeah, it smells good.
it's not one of those essential oils that I'm like I smell like, I don't know. There's some that I'm just not a huge fan of the
Well, and we
fragrance.
can
Yeah.
make own, like if you just get a carrier oil, right? And then drop
Yeah.
what,
Yeah.
like 10 drops of
Mhm.
each in, or 5 drops
Yeah.
of each, or
Yep.
Yeah.
Mix it up into a spray. You can just lather it throughout the body. I think that they do make sprays. I can't think of the name of it, but I have seen one.
I know
Yeah.
I know Wonderside, that brand,
Okay.
mainly because we use Wonderside for our animals too.
Mhm.
But they have an insect repellent. I actually just ordered some more, and it's a decent price, and they smell good. There's
yeah.
peppermint, cedarwood, rosemary,
Yeah,
and
lemongrass.
I think there's a lavender too.
Mhm.
Lemongrass is. I was
Lemongrass
going
is
to
what I
also
what I was
recommend So Kristen has one. Dr. Judy, who we've interviewed on the podcast, the veterinarian, I use her Kin and Kind, KIN plus Kind flea tick repel spray. I've used it for
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
We do not have our dogs on flea and tick medication. I'm anti that, to be honest. And so we use this instead if we're going to take them in places where they could get the fleas and ticks. We do have golden retrievers, they're outdoor dogs, but honestly, for the most part, no, we knock on wood, living in North Carolina, we do really well, but we use this in times where I'm like, nah, there's a high probability something's going to get on them. And it has the cedarwood oil, lemongrass oil, rosemary oil, and then other things like radish.
Rosemary, yeah.
Yeah. So there's some things, guys, but you can look this up for yourselves. Plenty of essential oils that are natural flea and tick repellents for your pets and for you. So that, when you like, again, if you're going to go like where I live, there's a maritime forest, and we all know if you live here, you don't go in there without repellent. Just, so take, like you're saying, just take precautions, and then
Right.
back and, good ideas. If you've been in the woods, shower and wash your hair too. Like,
Sure.
just,
Don't underestimate prevention with this. Sadly, it's one of those things where medicine meets humility a little bit, and
Yes.
there's not much that can be done other than avoid it.
Well, that's what I
Because-
was going to ask next is like, so let's say you get a tick bite, this happens to you, you get alpha-gal, like there is no cure. Do people ever come on the other side of it, or is it all?
Not that I've heard.
Yeah.
Well, I actually just saw, hang on, because
I mean, there might be some anecdotal people
Right,
who've done something.
so
but,
I'm
like,
not saying this is
universally, I think there's really,
But there very well may be. There very well
like
may be.
your immune system, there's nothing to like, I don't know, mitigate or change back, go back. So where you tolerate.
Well, while Kristen is looking this up, I do want to mention that Lyme disease, for years, we knew ticks seem to be the carriers, and it's come out more in recent years that we do think that was possibly created in a lab and that it was done in Europe. They were brought to the northeast of the Atlantic coast. They were brought to that area. There was a high incidence of Lyme disease there that proceeded to spread across the country. And so when we go back to COVID, we go back to Lyme disease, we're talking about these man-made, where they enhance a virus or create a virus to make it more potent or more lethal. I think we all, again, we just to bring back into the headlines that Dr. Fauci, the statute of limitations expired, to where he cannot be held accountable for knowing about the lab leak, actively covering up the lab leak. It was a lab in which he helped get funding for this research on the COVID virus, and yet he's going to walk free. If that doesn't make everyone furious, but also I think Kristen, Amy, and I are all at this point resigned to the fact that the evil are going to evil. And best thing we can do is take care of our families, continue to speak out. Hopefully more of the world will care and actually do something about it. But obviously the system is not working for us. It's not.
Yeah, and I know you all probably want me to be a little provocative with this, but it is something to think about, just how the timing of all of this is sometimes not a coincidence to me. And I don't really have 2 feet in either camp, but I do wonder about, we have such a push for fake meats nowadays, and there's a lot of stock in many well-known billionaires to produce as much fake lab-grown meat as we can.
Yep.
And apparently that stock was falling pretty fast. And all of a sudden we have this outbreak of ticks that are going to make you averse to red meats.
And allegedly, we have seen videos, of farmers finding tick boxes on their properties, like actual.
I haven't seen those.
It's
I
like
haven't even seen those.
dropped down from somewhere, allegedly.
And allegedly, has anybody looked up Lyme disease? Like,
That's what we're saying.
I'm saying, like, go back and look it up yourself. Like, really go back and look at it. I know you were just talking about it.
Yeah.
But what I was going to try and say, I was looking at this.
Yeah.
This girl, of course, it's anecdotal. But then, of course, you go to the comments and you'll see, like, I like to see, like, are people saying the same thing? And so one girl said that she has the alpha-gal syndrome, but she's day 2 of eating steak after the tick gave her a meat allergy. But it's almost like they start microdosing the meat. One person said that they had it and they avoided the pork and red meat and dairy for 3 years and got retested and is negative now. And I don't know if they tried it again.
I don't know. It's just so like maybe there is hope.
Mhm.
So maybe there is something that you can like, maybe
Sure.
you can be able to move forward and past that. But I'm telling you, I was going to bring up that conspiracy too, that like the timing is very interesting.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And a lot of those plant-based companies that are trying to make the fake meat, like you were saying, have not been doing well in recent years because more and more people are like, no, meat's not the enemy it was perpetuated to be at one point, right? And so, especially in the protein craze, I mean, my gosh, red meat and dairy can be a really good way for some people to hit some of those protein goals. And
Mhm.
so, and then just the attack on farmers. And I mean, we believe nothing. We trust nothing. We trust nothing. But what we will say is just be preventative, guys. Like,
Mhm.
don't be fearful. Just take precautions, be educated, and try to keep these things off of yourselves, your children, and your dogs and your pets. And you should be fine.
I don't and it hurts me a little bit to have people living in that fear because I'm a naturopathic doctor. I want people to get out in nature as much as possible. I
Yeah.
think it's very good for you. I don't want people to become fearful of nature and afraid of it. Just become informed
Yes.
and do the best that you can. It's all we can do. We live in a toxic soup,
Yep.
and you all believe in there are some devils out there. So just be the best you, prevent it, protect your space. It's all any of us can do.
Yep.
Yep.
Totally agree.
Absolutely.
Okay. One of the other things that we had been saying, which we texted you about a couple weeks ago, we're like, what in the world? There was this influencer craze going around about using Pepsid, in ways that were off label. I think some of it was around hormone health, right, girls? It was like around, like if you
Pepsid
feel,
it combined with something else though, right? It was like these two things together. Right. And Pepsid,
Claritin?
Claritin.
yeah. And it says to help with like PMDD or like
Mhm.
anxiety, premenstrual rage, anxiety, and all
Mhm.
these women were just like, oh my God, I feel like myself again. It's the Allegra Pepsid miracle combo. I don't know.
What's going on with that, Dr. Ben?
I don't even know if I had heard of it before you all started talking about it, but it does seem to be going pretty viral. And it's one of the most interesting things that's happening is because I don't know, like correct me because I just don't know if a doctor had prescribed that and they had a theory about why it was working, or if happenstance, these women were doing this and they were promoting and they were saying, look, I've never felt this good around this time of the month. Here's what I'm doing. Try it out for yourselves. Either way, I think it's super interesting
Yeah.
because it opens this door where maybe the PMDD and the PMS are not just hormonal and emotional. Maybe they are immune mediated and inflammatory driven, which I mean that's my game, right? That's how we treat everything.
Yes.
So I like how it's funny how we get there sometimes, but we find that it does get back to the basics. Be
Yeah.
the healthiest version of yourself.
Yep.
Make sure that we're not overproducing histamine, or at least the histamine isn't hurting us more than it's helping us.
Right.
And obviously, you're going to feel a whole lot better.
Right.
But things like Pepsid and Claritin, I think it was,
Yeah.
I think the antihistamines,
Or Pepsid and Allegra.
It
Allegra too, yeah,
was an allergy medicine, right? It was like a stomach medication and an allergy medication in one. And they were
right.
including,
How
Well,
would
because
that,
they're
like, how would
insulin and
those two
H2 blockers.
things help with, like, for example, anxiety? Like you say, it reduces histamine. So does histamine and is like plays a role in anxiety? I'm just curious how, like, what those two things why they would help.
Big time. So I might have it backwards. You're really testing my biochemistry here. I think Pepsid is working on the H2 receptor, and then something like an Allegra or Claritin is going to work on the H1 receptors. Now, we think these receptors they have a lot to do with allergies and sneezing and itchy eyes and itchy skin, but these receptors are all throughout the body and they're in the brain too. So if they become overloaded or the histamine is reaching these receptors in other tissues of the body, you can be symptomatic there too. That's where you'll get your anxieties or your brain fog and you're not as sharp anymore. So it's really more than just, take this around allergy season because I'm sneezy and I'm mucusy.
I literally just got an email one day because I get tons of things from all these different health people. And even like histamine with urinary symptoms and histamine,
Hmm.
all this stuff. It's like people don't realize how much histamine does play a role
in everything because I guess it could also cause inflammation. It's like the whole cascade, right? So, like, if you could tell us, like, how can you reduce histamine and what are some natural antihistamines if we don't want to get, because there are a lot of side effects if you are on these meds long term. Like,
Hmm.
it can mess up your gut. Like, there's different,
Yeah.
can't one of them, I might be wrong because I remember listening or learning this, like affect your B absorption or your B levels. Okay.
Yep.
Then,
Absolutely.
okay, that's what I thought. And then, so anyway, so there's a lot of things like anything that you're on long term, especially when it's synthetic,
Hmm.
you got to pay attention.
Yeah, I think you're spot on, and there's a lot that you can do for that. There are antihistamines that are in nature that you can find. It doesn't have to be something like a Claritin or Allegra. Quercetin is one. I think I made a video about that. I love using quercetin. Vitamin C, even. There are some botanicals that are really impactful, like stinging nettle. I like. And then obviously in the gut, you have an enzyme called DAO, and that breaks down the histamine. And a lot of us either have a mutation that makes that, not as effective, or we've just got leaky gut and our gut is a wreck and we're already at a deficit for DAO production. So any histamine that we make is going to feel overproduced because we don't break it down well.
Mm.
So gut health has a lot to do with it.
And then you have the gut brain health, the gut mental health.
You've got the gut brain axis. Yeah. So there's no coincidence. There's a lot of overlap with it. But for women specifically, why it might be working so well, or what's interesting about why we're figuring this out is that estrogen, actually, the higher amounts of estrogen tend to stimulate histamine more.
Okay.
And vice versa. Histamine will make that estrogen more active.
Okay, so that's where the connection goes for women is that elevated estrogen. And if women become estrogen dominant during perimenopause, whatever,
Hmm.
then you're saying they do have a tendency to have a raised histamine.
Right.
And that's
Right. And it's a vicious cycle.
yeah. And so what women are maybe experiencing is they have elevated, they're estrogen dominant, which is going to cause also what cortisol issues, like all kinds of makes you more at risk for breast cancers, right? All those things. And then yet, so then they've got this elevated histamine, and then they're going to try to mitigate that by using an allergy med and a basically digestive medication. I guess Kristen's point is to say, like, if that's temporary relief, great. But like the long-term use of this, you don't want to get in that cycle. What you want to do is get your hormones balanced.
Right. You
Right?
want to get the root cause.
Get the word call.
What's causing it?
Yep.
Once again, it's are you okay? What aligns with you? Is symptom management what you want? Or do you want to know why it's happening? Do you want to fix why it's happening?
Fix why, y'all. We're going to tell you right now. Here's the answer. Fix why.
Fix why.
If your symptom management becomes medical whack-a-mole, which means
Mhm.
you're going to knock down one symptom, but then you can create another symptom somewhere else in your body.
Yeah.
And so
And I'm actually glad. I don't mean to cut you off. I'm actually just glad, before I forget, I'm glad that you brought up the estrogen dominant state, because a lot of us nowadays are estrogen dominant. We're overweight, we're metabolically unhealthy.
Yeah.
It's just what happens.
Yeah.
But clearing that estrogen is also going to lower that histamine burden.
Right.
So if we have a lot of estrogen, and many women are producing way too much
Yep.
relative to progesterone,
Yeah.
we have to think about, okay, is something that you need maybe in your luteal phase, like a calcium deglucarate, a DIM, more fiber, things that are going to help us actually get rid of excess estrogen and not recirculate it into the blood. Because if it recirculates, you're obviously upping your probability of having a histamine response.
Yeah, take notes, ladies. If you just heard, he just gave you some things to look into if you want to bring those estrogen levels down. I know for me, that was not my issue. Amy, Kristen, y'all aren't estrogen dominant either, right?
Well, I didn't think I was until when I had my check-in. Like the past several months, I've had some symptoms before my cycle of just the anxiety and the overwhelm and like almost feeling panicky and like I'm just like, I don't know, just like these really weird feelings. So
Mhm.
I think it is maybe I am starting to have a little bit of an imbalance. And I know, Dr. Ben, you gave me vitamin C to use like
Mhm.
during my cycle. So is that something that helps with that?
It can, because and it might, simply because it does lower that histamine burden. It works. It works. It's not an antihistamine. You can't call it that, but there's chemistry there. So a lot of women respond well to high dose vitamin C during that time.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that is, again, what we want to encourage our friends to do is get to the
Mm.
root, because there's so much that we can do on our own naturally to start to bring our levels more. And let me tell you, also, you're listening to three women right now who are battling through with Dr. Ben to figure things out for ourselves. We want to share with you guys what we're learning, but we are so happy with this journey of figuring it out because we do know it is fixable. We are not destined to feel like garbage. That is actually
Right.
not a sign of health and vitality, and it's not an inevitable piece of aging. Is that you got to feel like garbage,
Mhm.
and we do want to help all of us. And all of us are dealing with. I mean, I know one of the things just to encourage you guys, like Dr. Ben. Part of my prescription from Dr. Ben is to actually sit more in a restful, peaceful state. And believe it or not, y'all, part of my prescription was you need more rest days
Mhm.
in your workout routine because you need to bring it down a little.
Yeah.
I'm a girl who just goes, goes, goes. And so it's been actually nice to give myself permission to be mindful and present and calm and my own little variation of meditative state
Mhm.
so I can feel better. So again, this is stuff that all of you are going to have to also be your own advocate to figure out. But certainly Dr. Ben and Benton Integrative are here to help you. They do telemedicine appointments. We will always promote them because we believe in them, because we know they can help you. But I do think
Before we move on,
yeah,
I want to point this out, Holly, just
yeah,
while we're on the women and hormones and all
yeah,
that, to second and validate what you were saying about the rest. I'm one of those that I have a hard time like taking my time to rest also. But I will tell you, there was a great, like podcast or whatever that I heard from a doctor too. It was like 20 minutes long and it was just put everything into perspective. But I loved how he said, because everybody has their love language. So if it doesn't matter to you with all this stuff, but you're struggling with some fat or visceral fat or whatever, what he said was, and I may have said it on here before, but I'm going to repeat it again, is that your body, it's a protective mechanism for your body to hold on to fat, especially the visceral fat. Okay. Subcutaneous is what you see, but the visceral fat, that's the bad stuff that's related to chronic disease and hormones, right? And it holds on to toxins and everything. And that's really the bad stuff. Okay. Your body is holding on to that when you're stressed and when you're not taking time to rest, sleep, and recover. So when you actually tell your body it's okay and it's safe and you can rest and relax,
yeah,
that's when it's like, hey, we can let some of that fatty acid, like free up that fatty acid,
yes,
let it go, let it go. So, but if you're not, if you're in that constant state, and this is also why when you have elevated cortisol all the time, when you're constantly in that fight or flight, once again, your body doesn't know if you're running from a bear or if you're stressed from work or relationships or business or life or financial stuff. So it really is so important. That's why they're saying like prayer, meditation, resting, walking, just all of that and good quality sleep is just so important for everything and everything falls into place. You keep hearing
yes,
nervous system regulation and dysregulation. We're like, what the hell does that mean?
right.
But that's where it kind of started making sense. You know, certain
Mhm.
you can hear it all the time, but when one person puts it a certain way, then
Yeah,
you're like, oh, okay.
yeah,
Mhm.
And we
absolutely.
did that
That's music to my ears.
nervous system too. Y'all can go back and listen to that because that was such a good conversation we had about
Mhm.
all that too.
Right.
Absolutely. Awesome call out there.
It's so important. It's so
It's so
important.
important, and we don't even realize. And by the way, let me just say, one of the things I know I need separation from the noise, and I think just even the political climate as of late, it's like we've all been talking. Amy and I were talking about this morning. Like, I'm done. Like, I like this. This is noise. The phone is
Yeah.
now noise to me, and I just realized the more I'm unplugged from it, the better I do feel. And so, like I said, I'm not advocating you stick your head in the sand and never know what's going on, but really, if you have no control over things, let's
Mhm.
just all go take care of ourselves and our families at this point and find peace in it, right? Because I do think it's got a real adverse it has a real adverse effect on our health and well-being, and we don't even realize it, you know.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
again, our goal here, guys, is just to help you guys naturally as much as possible heal yourselves and live happy, healthy, and strong lives, you know,
Yeah.
for longevity, right? And so one last thing that we did want to ask you about, because you mentioned fiber, actually, there's a whole fiber maxing trend, and I want you to explain to us what that says. Like, I'm all for fiber, but you know, a lot of fiber can leave you in a bathroom for a really long time. So
Or a lot of farts.
what do we
Yeah, it's the first viral trend that actually has maybe some decent science behind it,
Yeah.
but it's just so funny to me how you don't talk about something that's really good for you for a long period of time, and it just kinda gets pushed aside, and then all of a sudden someone starts talking about it, and it just catches fire.
Yeah.
But this is fiber. This is nothing new. None of this is ever new. If you're watching any of these other health influencers out there, I love what they're doing. I think it's great to spread the good word, but they all end up coming back at the end of the day to a balanced diet.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what, you can go totally carnivore. All of these carnivore guys are beginning to add some fruits and vegetables back in. Hold on, I'm just gonna experiment with this. Buddy, it's not an experiment, right? We've known this is good for you. But with fiber, it is really funny to me. I love fiber. I think everyone should get a lot more fiber. We definitely do not have enough of it. We're not eating enough fruits and vegetables. That's a really good source of it. And a lot of our carbs are very refined and it's stripped of that fiber value. So it's almost hard nowadays to get it if we're not eating a lot of whole foods and being intentional about it. I don't know what fiber maxing is all about or what they're really talking about. I just read it and was like, "What is this? Let's talk about it." It's not just about pooping
Yes.
and pooping more. Like a lot of people are constipated, sure, but fiber is super important. It's good for your microbiome. It stabilizes your blood sugar. It's helpful for hormone balance and estrogen metabolism, like we were just talking about. So there's a lot of benefit to having more of it. Particularly, I think the bacteria that's supposed to be in our gut and our microbiome, they ferment that fiber and they make something called short chain fatty acids, like butyrate, if you've heard of butyrate. These help maintain the gut lining. They keep us very motile. They reduce inflammation in the gut. It's very good to have them. So now what you'll see is a lot of people who do not have enough fiber, and their functional doc may just be putting them on a butyrate supplement. I think that's great. I think it does help. But again, it's not the root cause. We should be having a abundant, fortified microbiome that's doing this for us, and we're just feeding it with a good diet. And that's what fiber is going to do. And it is going to help us poop. It is going to help. It is going to help us move our bowels. That's a fact. And there's different types of fiber. Like you guys have to tell me if you've seen any of the videos, but are they talking about soluble or insoluble fiber? There's nuance to it.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
what would be your top, like, if you were to tell somebody to fiber max, like what foods give you the best bang for your buck in the fiber department?
So I think that the low glycemic fruits like berries tend to do a really good job, and they're very polyphenol rich. And we found that there are a lot of bacteria that are beneficial in our gut, like Akkermansia, that respond very well to the polyphenols. So you get polyphenol, you get fiber. There's great fruit up the berries, vegetables, and I like arugula myself. It's bitter. It does have a little bit of fiber. It's very easy on the digestive system, unlike some of those higher oxalate food like your kales and your spinaches. Even resistant starches like bananas, but you have to eat them while they're green.
Wait, really?
Yeah, yeah. There's super high resistant starch in a green banana or a semi-green banana, but like the more ripe it gets and the yellow it gets, the sugar content goes up. It's just not the same food anymore.
Yeah.
Or you can get potatoes, cook sweet potatoes, cook white potatoes. Those are great resistant starches. But an easy way to do it too, I really lean on smoothies as a lever for a lot of people. I think smoothie is a great nutritional choice everyone should make. You can put your ground flaxseed and your ground or your chia seeds into a smoothie right away and probably get like 4 or 5 grams right there, depending how much you use.
So true.
So it's very easy ways to implement it and get more. I don't know about maxing,
Right.
but just make it balanced.
Get more. Well, especially if you are constipated or you're not having regular bowel
Yeah.
movements, which really brings me to my last question for you. The GLP-1 conversation, the three of us have probably started to take a even stronger stance on that. We think there's so many red flags around the way this is being used.
Hmm.
I'm sure there can be benefits of many things for certain people at certain times in certain ways, but the way what we look at as an overprescription of these drugs. And now we're starting to see the lawsuits, literally thousands of Lawsuits are currently pending against Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly for Ozempic, Wegovy, and Mounjaro. And the lawsuits are claiming that they were not adequately, the patients were not adequately warned against the side effects. And the side effects they list are things like severe gastrointestinal injuries, vision loss. I mean, there's a whole list you guys can go look up online. But one of the thing that just fundamentally bothers me, Dr. Ben, about these drugs is that the mechanism of action is basically to slow digestion so that the patient feels fuller longer, which really means your food is moving through your digestive system much more slowly. And I've always been taught that pooping after every meal would be actually the ideal, right? That
Right.
you eat and then it starts to take toxins out of your body. When we talk
Right.
about lymphatic system, right? How we get the lymphatic system takes they're like the garbage carriers. It gets the garbage out of your system and gets it out of your body and flushes out your system through blood, sweat, poop, whatever, urine. Okay. So that is my biggest concern is why do we want to slow that down when it is such an integral part of detoxing the body? That's my big concern. Can you talk?
That's not their concern.
Okay, thank you. Doesn't sound like that.
It's not. It's a byproduct. They just want to lower the blood sugar and they want to help people lose weight. And they're using it as a means to become metabolically healthy. But they don't tell you the risks of actually like the harm that it does to your metabolism if you're on them long term. And I really don't know, at least patients who I see who come in and they're either curious about a GLP-1 or they've been on a GLP-1. They don't have a lot of guidance in how long they're supposed to be on it and how long they're supposed to use it for. From my own experience, I've had people tell me, this is something that my doc said that I can use as long as I want to. As long as I want to. And if it's making me feel good and it's helping me hit my weight goals, what's the issue in coming off of it?
But what about when they say, no, Dr. Ben, we're microdosing though, so it's fine.
That's what I was going to say. There's a lot of people I know now that they don't have they're not overweight, they're not metabolically even unhealthy, but there's like almost like this influencer, like microdosing trend where it's like, I feel great, I'm just microdosing. Like, what is that?
Yeah.
I don't.
I think it's a trend. I think it's a trend. I guess least effective dose, which I do practice. I like that. That makes more sense to me. But is that really the guidance that we want to be giving? Is just lower the dose of it and use it long term? It's really a metabolic problem. And I'm worried about preserving your metabolic health and flexibility if you're on one of these long term. I'm worried about muscle mass loss. I'm worried about bone loss. I'm worried about your thyroid function, like the seat of your metabolism. What is this doing to the thyroid? It gets a lot of, it's a growing reputation with GLP-1s. Is like, is this really affecting thyroid? We're seeing some weird things, but maybe not enough data to conclude anything yet.
Yeah.
I don't see how it couldn't be. We're taking nutrition away from ourselves. And your digestive function is suffering because of this. A lot of people do have gastroparesis and they don't digest well and they're becoming backed up. Like now one of our best and most powerful organs of elimination isn't working. So when I have this conversation, because I don't think it's the devil, I think a GLP-1 is just a peptide. We make them naturally. We're just concentrating it and using it more. If it's with the right patient population, it makes a lot of sense. Unfortunately, it's being patented, and these pharmaceutical companies are now getting a hold of them, and they're, coding for it, making sure that everyone can be on them, and there's really poor guidance for it.
Well,
But
yeah,
in the right population, it could be helpful.
sure.
However, we need much more clearance and monitoring to make sure that they're going to be doing the stuff alongside of taking a peptide like this
Yes.
to preserve their health long term.
Well,
think
what
it's
we've learned with Make Wellness, through wellness is we do have naturally occurring GLP in our body, but the half-life is like seconds to minutes. So
That's what it is.
the half-life, it comes in, it tells you that you're full, but then that peptide breaks down into amino acids and moves along. The half-life of the synthetic GLP-1s is 1 week, meaning that it keeps your GLP-1 receptors pounding on them for a week straight. So it's basically telling you you're full for a week straight and just there's no reprieve. So that is going to wreck your metabolism because your body is constantly going to think that you're full just because the GLP switch is like a fire hose.
Yeah.
Right.
And this is the thing too, like when you override your system, like you said, there are ways that people are doing it correctly. Number one, I think that there should be requirements. I think that
Hmm.
for anything to be approved, like you should get pre-labs, post-labs in a certain month or two. In a month or two, you need to do body scans because you need to look at your muscle mass, your
Yeah.
lean muscle mass, your fat mass. They need to be doing it correctly or you don't get it. I feel like
Yeah.
that's
Hmm.
what needs to happen. But
Yeah.
then, and also there needs to be stricter requirements. You know, if you're just trying
Yeah.
to lose 5 pounds, no.
Hmm.
But then, you know, when you're constantly, you know, peptides have a place. They do something that they're mimicking what your body already does, but the synthetic ones, they can override your system. So basically, they're telling your body to keep doing this, but it's basically your body, when your body's not actually doing it on its own, it's going to forget. It's like if you don't
Hmm.
use it, you lose it. So that's why when people start tapering off or come off, your body's like, oh my gosh, now what do I do? Like I've
Hmm.
lost muscle. Now the only thing you've been preserving everything. Now when you start putting, it's like when you've been in starvation mode, you know, like when you
Hmm.
starve and then you start eating, it's going to hold on to it all. So now you're almost even more metabolically unhealthy because you've lost more muscle. The GLP-1s don't make you lose muscle. It just, you're not functioning as well
Right.
and you're not being educated and you're not getting the nourishment. You don't have the energy. Your gut microbiome is jacked up. Like I know we've talked
Hmm.
about this ad nauseum, but
Yes.
I do not ever want people to feel shame for it. But once again, we always, you know, encourage your right to choose whatever you put in your body, but we also always encourage being fully informed. And
Hmm.
that is where people are not being fully informed. Doctors are just looking at the money and they don't even know. I don't think they don't even know. And even if they do, and even if they educate the patients, trust me, I worked at a clinic. People, they just want a quick fix.
Yeah.
They just want a quick fix. They're
That's
not
what this is for the
Yeah.
vast majority of people posting online. If I see another health fitness influencer talk about how the benefits of microdosing to like create this physique that they want, many men, I want to come through a screen and be like this is now you're crossing over into vanity and doing something. Look, the bodybuilding industry
Hmm.
riddled with drug problems in
Hmm.
the course of its history, right? To create a physique that looks a certain way, but metabolically not good for you. And
Hmm.
this is where we just push back because as someone who grew up in the 90s when the waif skinny came through and there was an epidemic of eating disorders for women to try to have this aesthetic, this look, this shape that was all the same. I mean, it was terrible. And now it's like trying to kick the door back down with the
Hmm.
Demi Moores of the earth and, you know, all these other
The
actors
Osbournes.
and the Osbournes. Kelly Osbourne looks like she's knocking on death's door.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we got to stop this, man. We have to stop. And yeah, go ahead, Ben.
I think that it can be good medicine. It's actually going to become very powerful medicine. We're just at the tip of the iceberg with what it can do for people's health.
Yeah.
But there are providers out there, like we have providers at Ben Integrative, for example, who do exactly what you're saying, Kristen, where there are requirements that you have to meet, and we will manage it so that you get the optimal effect from it. And it's not so liberally prescribed and liberally used without oversight. So that does exist. So I encourage anyone who's thinking about using them to work with a clinic and ideally in person if you can, or someone who you can actually speak to, not just type a message in and say, hey, I want to lose some weight, or hey, I want to build some muscle. That's not a physician. Talk to them, make sure that they can talk to you. Honestly, and this probably comes on, and I don't think many people would expect me to say it, but we have to be very careful with how we talk about peptides right now. And a lot of the injectable peptides too, because we're getting them from sources that are, can we trust them? Many
No.
times we're finding not a lot of these companies are shutting down. There's no quality assurance. And I think it is a worthwhile mental exercise for people in the camp who at one point were very against injecting vaccines and immunizations to now say, well, hold on, how about these injectables with no quality assurance that are supposed to do this and this and this? So just walk that line. Don't live in either camp.
Yes.
But we have to be very careful with how we talk about it, because all of a sudden we're very excited to inject stuff into our body when 5 years ago
Yeah.
we were fighting it with tooth and nail.
It's just that's where it's wild for me, right? And it's the extremes. Like again, balance in the middle feels really good to me. I feel like it's just at an extreme right now because I am a person who is so intrigued by peptides. Like we've talked about, they're naturally occurring in our bodies. I want to understand. I don't trust pharma. I know the companies who are prescribing these things. I don't trust them.
Right.
You know? And so the fact that so many people who were anti-COVID vaccine that are all in on these peptides, and not only all in, they're online touting the benefits and selling them through companies to all their friends. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Like everything about this feels really like pump the brakes.
Mhm.
Pump the
Well, you
brakes.
Just check in.
That's like super interesting is just do some research on have there been any human clinical trials on any of the synthetic peptides out there?
And specific, yeah.
Great
And definitely
question.
not long
And
term.
long term, Amy, long term.
Or just even on humans in general, like
Yeah.
at all?
Yeah.
Ever?
The long term effects, because like you said, Ben, there's a time and place for a lot of things, and doing it in the right framework that we know
Mhm.
is safe and healthy is one thing. But I can't tell you, I know a girl that's been on a GLP-1 for 3 years
Mhm.
and just diagnosed with a cancer. And I'm
And
like, again, that maybe they're not related at all, but I am saying that it just, everything about it makes me super nervous. And I just want everyone else to proceed with caution too. I think we need to.
And with women's health as well, there are a lot of the ones who are using the GLPs. Should probably finish up here and talk about the new PMOS labeling.
Yes. Thank you. That's our last, I forgot we got to cover that. Please go into that.
Yeah, well, knowing that we're trying to benefit metabolic health with GLP-1s, easy segue.
Yeah.
So obviously, if you don't already know, the PCOS has been changed to PMOS, a polyendocrine metabolic ovarian syndrome, which I think is one of the smartest things that we've done in years. In my field, we've been treating it as a metabolic condition for a long period of time anyway, but now it's taking the responsibility off of the ovaries and off of the cysts that may be on the ovaries and putting it onto metabolic health. So once again, ad nauseum, we don't have to go into it, but make your metabolic health priority. And is a GLP-1 your way to get there? Who knows? Consult with a physician, but make sure you're metabolically flexible, because something like PCOS, which is it's a pretty big number of women that have it. It's a large fraction of women. Sometimes it doesn't even take a cyst to diagnose. You don't even have to have a cyst on the ovaries. These women have the hallmark symptoms, and there's not even a cyst on their ovaries. So really, what has it been the whole time? It's been insulin resistance, and your ovaries are the victim. They're not the cause of why it's there.
Mm. I'm sorry. I get so like, see, that's how I feel. I want to be like, only
I feel so bad for it. Just minimized the condition entirely for
right.
decades.
But women's health, Dr. Ben, this is the issue. We spent 20 years telling them, don't you dare take a hormone. But boy, they would give them to kids who wanted to transition like it was candy, right? But like women's health seems to be the last priority for figuring this out. And by the way, and we've talked about this before, but I'm going to say it again. I have 3 males in my home. Well, not any longer because my kids have flown the nest, but I raised 2 boys and I have a husband. And I promise you, their feeling on a day-to-day basis pretty much stays pretty consistent.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, I got a hormonal roller coaster going on, every month, and that I am managing to try not to, to try to just, and I got to say, I'm one of those girls who feels good most of the time, but I still feel the difference, right? I can feel the difference in my workouts. I can feel the difference in my energy, all those things based on my hormonal transitioning because was to give, birth to children.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Really kills me is that we just don't pay attention to what women really need because women have learned to just suck it up and deal with it. And that this whole conversation, I'm glad they've made this change. But honestly, naturopaths like you have been treating this disease differently for decades.
Of course.
And now Western medicine has decided to catch up. Well, thank God. But
Mhm.
is there a connection to wanting to reclassify this and the GLP-1s?
That's a great question. You're going to need another guest for that answer.
Okay. I feel like maybe
But I mean, come on.
I
come
feel
on.
like there could be an incentive from pharma to
Yeah, connect the
reclassify
dots.
so they can treat.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Connect the dots.
That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say.
Focus on yourself. Make yourself healthier. Okay. We don't need, you don't want to depend on pharmaceuticals anyway.
Right.
Make yourself healthier.
Amen. Amen.
And it just there's so much relationship between hormones
Mhm.
and PCOS, and we knew for a long time, but now we are finally classifying why we're making so many androgens, and we're gaining weight, we're having difficulty losing it, we're growing facial hair as a woman. It's like, well, I mean, we knew this. We knew this long ago. You're insulin sensitive, and all that insulin's just pouring over onto your ovaries, and your ovaries, they take the blunt of it and they respond to it. Okay? It's not the ovaries' fault.
Such good news. Such
Yeah.
good news. Well, Dr. Ben, we appreciate you so much. We can sit and talk to you about everything under the sun for a really long time.
Feel
And
the same.
we appreciate you so much for bringing some clarity. And hopefully, our guests always can say, hey, I learned something today. And if anything, all four of us are just reiterating, as Dr. Ben so eloquently just said, focus on your own health. Do some reading, ask some questions, and find you a really good practicing physician like Dr. Ben. And you can use Dr. Ben. As I said, go to bentonintegrative.com. You can use him, but find someone that can help you do the deep dive to get to the root cause of why you're not feeling great. Because what we will say is we were meant to. We were meant to live and feel really good, through the end of our days. We know a lot of people who are in their 70s, 80s, and 90s and still feeling great. So we know it's possible, and that's the goal. We want to help all of you do it. Thank you so
Well
much,
said.
Dr. Ben. We appreciate you.
Always thank you guys for having me again. This is so fun. I hope it was helpful.
Yes,
So,
always.
all right, y'all. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.